Good afternoon, and welcome back to TVM-News. Today is Friday, February 18th. I'm Emma Rushworth.
And I'm Ellen France. Today, we have news about Marywood's music department's upcoming musical.
We also have news about Marywood's athletic training program.
And we'll check in with TVM sports anchors Nevica Molinaro and Cheyenne Amick to find out the latest in Marywood and professional sports.
The Office of Equity and Inclusion at Marywood is hosting a Zoom lecture for Black History Month. Marywood alumna Amber Viola will present a lecture on the Black maternal death rate. The Zoom lecture will be held on Wednesday, February 23rd at 6 p.m. Those interested should register before the event. A QR code to register is located on Marywood's website under the This Week at Marywood tab.
Marywood's Department of Music, Theater, and Dance presents Stephen Sondheim's Merrily We Roll Along, February 18th through 20th in the Set La Vergetta Performing Arts Center. Tickets are free and open to the public. This is Marywood's first full musical with a full orchestra since 2018.
Marywood Psychological Services Center will be hosting an eating disorder screening day next Thursday. The anonymous screenings will be held on February 24th from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Marywood students are encouraged to attend and discuss symptoms they may be having with confidential resources in the McGowan Center.
Marywood's Upside Club will be hosting a Black History Month Kahoot on February 22nd. The goal of the Kahoot is to teach students about the past to help them shape the future. Anyone interested is to contact Dr. Lindsay Phillips at lphillips@maryu.marywood.edu.
Marywood-University recently announced a partnership with a South Korean university. A memorandum of understanding was signed between Marywood and Jeonju Kijang College, located in Seoul. The agreement is the first step towards a global exchange program between the two institutions.
Marywood will be hosting synod town halls for students to discuss their concerns with the Catholic Church with fellow students and clergy members. The in-person session will be on February 20th and the virtual session will be on February 8th. For more information and Zoom link, contact Dr. Kosaki.
The athletic training program hosted a virtual information session on Tuesday. The free session provided information to prospective students. Information for both the 5-year bachelor's to master's degree program and the 2-year master's degree program were presented. Another information session will be held on March 15th.
The Marywood Counseling and Student Development Center is hosting the annual Perfectly Imperfect. The week correlates with National Eating Disorders Awareness Week. Beginning on February 21st, the CSDC will be hosting numerous activities to help students see the change and be the change to raise awareness for eating disorders.
TVM Special Correspondent Soren Sponson has information for us on next week's Mystery Bingo event.
On February 23rd, Marywood-University students will be able to participate in Mystery Bingo and win some great prizes that are wrapped in gifts. If a student wins a game of bingo, they will have to guess to see what is inside for their prize. The event will happen right here in the Latour Room at 9 p.m. Come hang out and have a great night of bingo and socialize with others on a special bingo night. This is Soren Swanson for TVM News.
When we come back, we'll tell you about a local high school basketball star turned Harlem Globetrotter.
Myth. If you get COVID-19, you'll recover after a few days. That myth is false. We're only just beginning to understand the effects of COVID-19 on the human body, as we're starting to see more and more people identifying as long haulers who are having symptoms for weeks, if not months, after their initial infection. Continue to wear a mask, socially distance, and wash your hands. Together, we can keep COVID out of school.
For ways to keep your community safe, go to backtoschooltogether.com.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Hey, let's check out this park.
To find
find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
I don't think we're free in this country. For 100 years, you saw black people menaced and targeted and lynched and beaten and brutalized. I think we're burdened by this history. More people have to be willing to do that uncomfortable, inconvenient thing that justice requires for things to get better. Truth can inspire change. Learn more at EJI.org.
The cold case murder of a 9-year-old girl in Hazleton, Pennsylvania was finally put to rest this week. Marie Chivarello was walking to school in 1964 when she was abducted, raped, and murdered. The heinous nature of the crime, coupled with the police's inability to catch the culprit, haunted the Hazleton area for 57 years. Last week, state police announced they had used genealogical records and DNA from an exhumed corpse to confirm the culprit is believed to be a man named James Forte. Forte was in his early 20s at the time of the murder, and police believe that he may have victimized more girls in the area. Forte died in 1980 and is buried in Luzerne County.
A local high school basketball star now plays for the Harlem Globetrotters. Pittston native Mia Hopkins is now known as the Mighty Mia Hopkins on the famous basketball team. The team brought their spread game tour to Wilkes-Barre this weekend and celebrated Hopkins' homecoming. She will play with the Globetrotters through the end of the year.
A woman died after falling from a hiking trail in Lehigh Gorge State Park over the weekend. The 72-year-old woman has not been identified by police, but the trail she fell from had been closed to the public since 2019. Troopers acknowledged that hikers often venture into restricted areas, but that areas like this are closed off for a reason. This trail has been closed due to unsafe conditions.
A man in Berwick has been arrested after a stabbing incident this weekend. 26-year-old Isaiah Scott Newton was arrested for the stabbing death of 28-year-old Frederick James McConnell. Police were called to the scene late Friday night after a report of fired shots. However, witnesses told the police that the suspect had driven off prior to their arrival. The incident occurred due to an argument between the two.
A man was killed after an argument in Carbondale on Saturday. Kevin Bowman fatally shot 37-year-old Harrison Carpenter around 2 a.m. at an apartment complex along Morse Avenue. Bowman admitted to police that he shot Carpenter and is being held under illegal possession of a firearm charge while police investigate the homicide.
A Monroe County native won the Super Bowl this past weekend. Sebastian Joseph Day is a defensive tackle for the Los Angeles Rams and was a 2013 graduate of Stroudsburg High School. This is Day's second Super Bowl, but first win as he played for the Rams when they lost to the Patriots a few years ago.
One person is dead after a car accident in Monroe County. Police say Jeffrey Semprini of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, lost control of his vehicle and crashed into a creek near Saylorsburg. He was pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. The Troop Borough Fire Department hosted their 17th annual Wing Fest this weekend. The fest raises money for the fire department prior to the Super Bowl. Despite the increasing prices of chicken, the community still supported the fire department. When we come back, we will have news about a shooting that happened in Houston, Texas.
Myth. I can party with people as long as they don't have symptoms. That myth is false. As we've seen, up to 40% of people who have COVID-19 are asymptomatic and can pass it on to others. So I'd recommend avoiding any social parties, especially indoor ones. If you want to try to socialize but reduce your risk, I'd recommend meeting outside in small groups, continuing to wear a mask, and socially distancing from others if you can. Then together, we can keep COVID-19 out of school.
For ways to keep your community safe, go to backtoschooltogether.com.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
I am what hunger looks like in America.
I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch. Till September.
I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs, and that's still not enough to put food on the table. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, a selfie.
Selfie. Nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Greg, come on man, let's put a ride home.
Houston police are offering a $30,000 reward for anyone who can give information to the road rage shooting of a 9-year-old girl. Ashanti Grant was shot in the head after the driver of a white GMC Denali opened fire on her and her family. The Denali had been aggressively driving and cut the family's car off. Grant is still in critical condition at a nearby hospital.
15-year-old Russian ice skating superstar Kamila Valieva was cleared to compete in the women's figure skating competition in the Winter Olympics after failing her drug tests. After a hearing with the Olympic Committee, it was determined that Valieva could compete and that the rules would be more lenient for her since she is a minor. However, there will be no medal ceremony for the event she's in, regardless if it takes place or not.
$5 billion of federal money will be given to help states build electric vehicle charging stations. The Biden administration announced the funding in an effort to reduce the United States' reliance on gas-powered vehicles. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said that the funds will go to the states with detailed plans on how they will utilize the money.
A white father and son are charged for allegedly shooting a black FedEx driver. Gregory and Brandon Pace have been charged with chasing the FedEx truck driven by 24-year-old DeMontario Gibson and shooting him. Brandon used his pickup truck to block Gibson as Gregory shot it. Fortunately, Gibson is okay.
Mazars USA, the accounting firm used by the Trump Organization, announced that it can no longer vouch for the company. In a statement by New York Attorney General Letitia James, the company announced that the records of the Trump Organization's finances from 2011 to 2020, quote, cannot be relied on. This comes as the New York Attorney General's office is investigating the Trump Organization as well as former President Donald Trump and his family members for fraud and tax evasion.
The University of Alabama has voted to remove the name of a KKK leader and former governor from one of their buildings. The school will rename the Bibb Graves building into the Arthurnine Lucy Hall after the school's first black student. The vote came after the initial idea of putting both names on the building was rolled back.
A judge has thrown out former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin's defamation lawsuit against the New York Times. Following the 2011 shooting in Arizona that maimed Representative Gabby Giffords, the New York Times incorrectly linked Palin to the shooting. The New York City federal judge has announced that after jury deliberations, he intends to throw out the case, even in the odd event that the jury rules in Palin's favor. This is the second lawsuit by Palin against the Times that has been thrown out.
The 2022 Academy Award nominations were announced last week. Leading the list with 12 nominations is Power of the Dog, with nominations for Best Picture, Director, and with one cast member in every acting category. Steven Spielberg's West Side Story and Kenneth Branagh's Belfast are also scored various nominations. The Oscars will air on March 27th. When we return, we'll check in with TVM sports anchors Nevica Molinaro and Cheyenne Amick for the latest in Marywood and professional sports.
COVID-19 has changed how we express our faith and gather to worship. Now it's time to take the first step that lets us get back to spreading the word without spreading concern. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts. As COVID-19 vaccines become available, you may have questions.
Should I get it?
Is it safe? Should I wait? It's smart to question. Now, get the facts at getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. Alright, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Never gonna let you go.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Marywood. I'm Cheyenne Amick.
And I'm Neva Kamalanero. Marywood sports have had some interesting games this week. How are the pros, Cheyenne?
Well, Nevica, the world of professional sports never sleeps. Let's hear about what happened this week in Marywood. Nevica?
Marywood's lacrosse season has officially started. The men's team begun the season off strong with a 13-9 win against Rosemont College last Saturday, February 12th. In his collegiate debut, freshman John Scobello broke the Marywood men's lacrosse single-game point record with 7 goals and 5 assists. He broke the record by 2 points, which was previously held by Matt Casto, that was gained on April 26, 2017. Unfortunately, our boys were not able to keep that energy when they lost 5-20 against the University of Scranton this past Wednesday, February 16th. Hopefully, the Pacers will be able to make a comeback this upcoming Wednesday, February 23rd, when they take on Wilkes University at home at 6 p.m. The women's team doesn't have their first game until Tuesday, February 22nd, away at Wilkes University. The Marywood men's basketball team has continued to put up a fight, yet falls short as they now have received a 6-game loss streak. Their most recent loss was this past Wednesday against Marywood-University University, 81-90 in overtime. Our boys will host their last game of the regular season tomorrow, February 19th, against Cabrini University at 3 p.m. This game will also be the Pacers' senior day. Special correspondent Soren Swanson has the details.
For today's sports special segment, I am here in the basketball gym in Solanco Arena, where the Marywood Pacers will take on Cabrini University on Saturday at 3 p.m. for senior night, as it is their last and final home game of the season. Friends and family will be able to support our Marywood Pacers by watching the Atlantic East. And let's go Pacers! This is Soren Swanson for TVM-News.
After a hard-fought game this past Wednesday, the Marywood women's basketball team fell short in the fourth quarter against Marywood-University University, which resulted in a 54-60 game. Tomorrow, our girls will host their last game of the regular season against Cabrini University at 1 p.m. After a hard-fought season, the men and women's swimming and diving team has officially come to an end. In the Atlantic East Championship, hosted by St. Mary's College of Maryland this past weekend, the men's team placed 4th out of 6 teams with a score of 385 points, and the women's team placed 4th out of 7 with a score of 396. Our Pacers were racking up the medals at the Atlantic East Championship. On day 1, freshman Sabrina Ziegler had Marywood's standout performance, earning a silver medal. On day 2, freshman Molly O'Connell received a silver medal in the women's 400 IM. Samantha Peck earned bronze in the women's 100-meter butterfly, and Jason Lee won a bronze medal in the 100-meter breaststroke. Dylan Hervex received a bronze medal in the 100-meter backstroke, and Sabrina Ziegler placed 4th in the women's 200-meter freestyle. Nathan, Jason, Cameron, Joey, Samantha, Sabrina, Olivia, and Molly received bronze in the 800-meter relay. On day 3, Ziegler finished 2nd in the free, receiving her 2nd silver medal, and Samantha Peck received silver in the 200-meter butterfly. Jason Lee received silver in the 200-meter breaststroke, while Nathan Grosner was awarded bronze. Congrats to both the men and women swimming and diving on their season. Mackenzie Bennett, Elizabeth Levine, Brooke Longstreet, and TV-Marywood's very own station manager, Ashlyn Jess, was awarded the United Soccer Coaches Distinction. This award is given to players who have achieved quality performance on the field, represented the highest ideal of team leadership, demonstrated sportsmanship and respect for teammates, opponents, and officials, and who had made significant contributions to the program and the community. Jess and Longstreet also won this award for the 2020 season. Congrats, ladies. That's all for Marywood Sports. Let's see what has happened in the professional sports.
Thanks, Nevica. The Los Angeles Rams were the winners of Super Bowl 56 on Sunday night, scoring their first set of points within the first 7 minutes of the game. The ending score was 23-20. Defeating the Cincinnati Bengals, this is the first Super Bowl championship the Rams have under their belt as an LA team, and only the second instance in the franchise's history. This game didn't go without injury, though, as Rams wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. was absent for the second half of the game due to a shoulder injury that occurred in the first. Quarterback Matthew Stafford also temporarily limped off the field before eventually returning. When Stafford returned to the game, he threw a touchdown pass to wide receiver Cooper Kupp. This earned the extra point within a minute and 25 seconds left of the game. In the same vein, Kupp was also named the team's most valuable player. Kupp had also contributed this win to his teammates. "Quote, I'm not really deserving of this," said Kupp of his MVP award. Despite a positive drug test, Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva was cleared to keep competing at the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. The Court of Arbitration of Sport ruled in favor of the 15-year-old figure skater on Monday. This decision dismissed the provisional suspension that Valieva potentially faced after she came up positive for a banned heart medication. This meant that she was able to compete in the individual women's skating competition that started on Tuesday. This decision, however, has sparked controversy. One person who is critical of this result is Sarah Hirschland, the CEO of the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. She stated the committee was, quote, disappointed by the message this decision sends. Serbian tennis player Novak Djokovic has announced that this time he is opting out of getting the COVID-19 vaccine, even if that means he is ineligible to compete in upcoming tournaments. In an interview with the BBC that aired on Tuesday, Djokovic stated he was prepared to miss upcoming tournaments like the French Open and Wimbledon if it was required he be vaccinated. Even after being unable to compete in the Australian Open because of his decision, his efforts to have more Grand Slam wins than his rivals may be delayed. Pertaining to the French Open, authorities in France stated players must be vaccinated to compete in the competition. It is possible he may be able to compete in Wimbledon in June, but at this time he won't be able to compete in the US Open in August, according to recent guidelines. However, the tennis player told the BBC that he's usually not against vaccinations and that he did not want to be associated with the anti-vaccination movement. His decision at this time is simply personal. Two college basketball events, the Phil Knight Invitational and the Phil Knight Legacy Tournament, will include women's brackets next fall. The events, based out of Portland, Oregon, are a continuation of the events that took place in 2017 to commemorate the Nike co-founder Phil Knight's 80th birthday. In the 2022 Phil Knight Invitational will host 8 men's teams and 4 women's teams. Alabama, Iowa State, Michigan State, North Carolina, Portland, UConn, and Villanova for the men, and Iowa State, Michigan State, North Carolina, and Oregon for the women. The 2022 Phil Knight Legacy Tournament will also be a host to 8 men's and 4 women's teams. The men's teams competing will be Duke, Florida, Gonzaga, Oregon State, Portland State, Purdue, West Virginia, and Xavier. The women's teams will be Duke, Iowa, Oregon State, and UConn. The events will be played in a bracket-style format and will take place November 24th through the 27th, and will span across 3 Portland venues: University of Portland's Chili Center, Rose Quarters Moda Center, and Veterans Memorial Coliseum. That's all for sports. After the break, we'll catch up with news anchors Emma Rushworth and Ellen Franz.
It's on. Release the meteor! Whoa!
He's looking at you, kid.
I dig it.
That felt pretty great. Because the fight isn't over yet.
You will see me choose to protect my community by wearing a face cover.
And even with my face covered,
you will see me.
As a son.
As a man with a never-quit attitude.
As a fighter for change.
Join me in wearing a face cover.
To help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because this is one small act of kindness
that has the power to make a big difference.
Hello, everybody.
your old pal Grover here with some health tips. Wash your hands throughout the day with soap and water for 20 seconds. Whoa. Also, practice physical distance by staying 6 feet away from people in public. And do not forget to wear a mask. And whoa! So that is where the soap went.
Caring for each other because we are all in this together.
The Super Bowl wasn't the only big game this past weekend. Animal Planet's annual Puppy Bowl occurred Sunday afternoon, hosted by Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart. Team Fluff beat Team Rough in this year's big game, and the 118 puppies who played in this year's Puppy Bowl are all adopted, and every year the Puppy Bowl puppies have a 100% adoption rate. I looked into it. There is a puppy named Benny who has a cart as like a wheelchair, and he's a poodle, and he is my dream dog.
I think we know some people who played in that, don't we?
Probably.
We know a couple dogs.
That's going to do it for this week's edition of TVM News. From everyone at TV-Marywood, thanks for tuning in.
Be sure to follow TV-Marywood's YouTube page and like the TVM Facebook page to stay up to date on the latest happenings and to watch additional content. I'm Emma Rushworth.
And I'm Ellen Front. Have a fantastic weekend, Marywood. We will see you next week.